Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Farishta. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm joining you live from Vaughan, Ontario. I am in the Greater Toronto area, if that helps. I have been a hair and makeup artist for 4 years now, just a little bit of background, and I have been with Shoppers for 2 years now. I'm so excited for you guys to join me here today. I know that this is something new for all of us. We're meeting online. It's been unprecedented times, but I'm so glad that you guys are here. We're able to connect in a more accessible way and for us all to learn something new. So definitely excited. Today we're going to be focusing on a very naturally gorgeous look today. So we're going for that no makeup type of look. So definitely fresh and glowy, and I hope it's all easy for you to follow along. I am going to go through step by step. You guys can follow along on your end. I do recommend that you take notes along the way, just so you have something you can refer back to when this is all done. So you have something in the future, any tips and tricks that you want to jot down, you're more than welcome to do that. We have a live chat going on as well. You're more than welcome to engage with everyone or ask questions, and I will answer the questions at the end as we get into it. So let's get started. So I hope that we have all cleansed our skin before we started. Cleansing your skin is really important before applying any products, especially now that we're wearing masks. We want to ensure that our pores aren't clogged, don't have any buildup of any sort. Personally, I love using the Korres Greek Yogurt Foaming Cleanser. It's great because it deeply cleanses the skin without stripping it of its natural oils or anything like that. But it definitely depends on your skin type. I have more combination skin. So if you guys have a favorite cleanser, let us know in the chat what your favorite cleanser is and what type of skin you have, so we all get some great suggestions there. Alrighty, so now that we have gone through cleansed skin, we're all prepped and ready. Hopefully we can jump into our skincare. So we're going to start off with our serum. I have the Origins Ginseng Into the Glow Brightening Serum here. It's a beautiful, lightweight, glowing serum that gives you that glow from within look here. So it has caffeine and lactic acid in it. I like to use just 2 pumps. And if you're following along, you can do that as well if you'd like. It smells amazing. So the caffeine is great for instantly giving us a boost to the skin, helps waken the skin, and then the lactic acid long-term helps renew the skin, resurfaces the skin, so long-term you're getting that glow into the skin as well. So this will be your long-term BFF, if you will. So really easy, lightweight. You don't want to use too much, but you just want to use enough to get a nice glow. Alrighty. This just awakens your senses. It's really nice. Alrighty, now that we've massaged that in, it's synced in, you're going to jump into moisturizer. So today I'm going to be using the Honest Beauty Hydra Gel Cream. It's another great lightweight cream that we're going to use. It's beautiful. It doesn't feel very heavy, especially since we're going to be putting makeup on top of it. A little bit goes a long way, so I'm just using a little bit of that, dotting it around my face. And then we're going to go ahead and massage that in. So when we apply moisturizer or any type of skincare, we always want to make sure we're going in an upward motion, because we want to avoid creating premature aging skin. We're massaging that in an upward motion, very lightly, because if we're tugging and pulling downwards, what that's going to do is to prematurely create lines and wrinkles and sagging. So we always want to go upward, and even in our neck, when we apply it, we want to go in an upward motion. And that just sinks in really beautifully, really lightweight and nice. Alrighty. And since all of us are, or most of us are at home now, even if you are at home, and especially if you're going outside, you want to make sure that you're applying at least an SPF 30 because we want to protect our skin from any harmful UVA and UVB rays. So a great one that I like to suggest is the La Roche-Posay Mineral Fluid Sunscreen. It is an SPF 50, so it's mineral, so it has physical sunscreen in it, which is going to help effectively protect our skin, and it's lightweight, so it's not going to weigh us down or disturb our makeup that we're putting on top. Alrighty, so our skin care is nice and prepped. It's ready for anything that we're going to put on top. So we're going to go in with Concealing and Correcting. So today I have the Lise Wate Portfolio Concealer here. This one has great correcting shades, brightening shades, as well as a contour. What I'm going to be focusing on is correcting and concealing. I'm going to be correcting with the pinky peachy shade that we have here, and I'm going to be using the Quo Detail Concealer brush. So because I have a bit of brown and bluish pigments around my eyes and a little bit around my mouth, I'm going to be using the pink shade to cancel that out. And I'm only going to be applying it in the areas that need correcting. We aren't going to blend that down into the areas that are more even. Because then what's going to happen is if you have that color corrector in other areas that you don't need, you're going to end up using a lot more concealing products to help cover up that correcting product. So it's going to be a little bit counterproductive. So you're only going to apply the corrector in the areas that you need. So applying that there. And then just a little bit around my mouth here. If you do have any red blemishes, you're welcome to use a green corrector. I'm just going to use my fingers to blend that out now. A green corrector is going to help with red because if you look on the color wheel, green is the opposite of red, so that's going to help cancel out any redness. Alrighty, and I am all corrected now. So now I'm going to go ahead and conceal. I'm going to be using my Quo Fluff and Buffing brush here. I'm going to be using the shade that is closest to my skin, but I always like going a little bit lighter to help highlight and lift, especially my under eyes. So I'm going to use this shade here and just a little bit of this. And I'm going to go ahead and stipple that into my under eye area. And the reason I like using a lighter shade again is to help lift that area. So we're bringing that area up. We're creating the illusion that it's more up to the surface. Whereas contour, we are creating shadows. We're making it darker to make it appear more hollow. So this is the opposite effect of that. And that's the great thing about this palette, is that you can go ahead and customize it as close to your shade as possible. And when we're applying our products, we always want to make sure that we are stippling and lightly blending as we go, because if we are moving the product around, swishing it back and forth, that can tend to remove the product we have on underneath, or it can dilute the color or mix the color that we have going on underneath, which isn't what we want. We want to stipple, and this also helps set the product as well. And I am just concealing here. any area that you find you need concealing, you can go ahead and do that. And I'm going to use a bit of the lighter shade on the bridge of my nose because again, I want to bring it up to surface, and that'll help give the illusion that it's more narrow as well. I'm just blending that up so we don't have any harsh lines anywhere. Then again, you can always use the warmth of your finger to help pat that product in too and help blend it out. Alrighty, so we are concealed and corrected. I hope that was easy to follow along. So we have that all done. So now what we're gonna do is go ahead and set all our products in. So we're gonna do that with the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Press Powder here. I am using the shade Light. They also do have a translucent or deeper shades as well. So you can go ahead and use that there. And I'm going to be using the Quo Airbrush, the Quo Large Airbrush Powder Brush here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that. If you do have more oily skin, I suggest that you can use a loose powder as well. Dermablend has a great loose powder. And I'm just going to apply that where I tend to get a bit of creasing, so around my mouth. I tend to get a little bit oily in my T-zone, so this is your T-zone, so I'm just going to apply a bit of powder there as well. And then my under eyes tend to crease a lot, so I'm just using the corner of my brush and really packing that product on. And then same thing, we're just going to press, stipple, and push that product into our skin so we can set it rather than buffing it and risk removing product. You want to make sure not to powder too much all over the skin because then we risk having a cakey look or too matte of a look, which takes away from the very natural look that we want to achieve today. So we are concealed, we are corrected, and we are set. So now we can go ahead and add some color back into our skin. We're going to do that by using a blush, and we are going to use the Quo Beauty Featherweight cream blush here. It's a really beautiful product. A little bit goes a really, really long way, so you want to just be careful about that. It's also very natural because cream blushes tend to be a little bit dewy, so it looks very natural. This is in the shade Halo, and they do have beautiful colors you can choose from as well. So this one is a more natural flush shade for me. They also have deeper shades, brighter shades, so it's a personal preference if you'd like a pop of color or if you want to keep it more natural. So I have just a little dollop on my finger here, and I'm actually going to use half of that on my cheeks. So 1/2 per cheek. And we are going to apply that in a C motion with just the warmth of our finger to help blend that in. So I'm applying it onto the apples of my cheek and blending it up into my temples into a C formation, because that's where our skin tends to naturally flush. Just applying that and blending that in as we go. And again, we're stippling, pressing, and blending. And we're not dragging any product around because again, we risk pushing that product around. So this will help ensure longevity. And you can see, because it's a cream blush, it gives a beautiful natural glow. And that way we can avoid using any highlight or shimmers altogether, because some highlights tend to have a bit of a chunky glitter to it, so that can take away from the illusion of a natural look. But again, everything is personal preference. And the latest trend right now is to just apply a little bit of blush onto the nose because it gives a natural look as well. So if you want to do that, you can go ahead and do that as well. If you guys have tried any cream blushes below, let us know if you have any questions on it. I know it's something that is more newer. So if you have any questions about it, let us know, or let us know what your favorite cream blushes are in the chat. Alrighty, so we have a bit of color into our faces now. We're going to add some dimension now. So we are going to do that by using the Physicians Formula Murmur Butter Bronzer. This is the shade Just Bronzer. They do have deeper or more shimmery bronzers as well. Not to mention, they all smell amazing. I feel like I'm on vacation, but you know, no one's going on vacation right now. I'm going to be using a nice, massive, fluffy brush here. This is the Quo Ultimate Powder Brush. It's nice and fluffy, so it won't create any harsh lines when we're applying this. It'll be nice and blended because it's so nice and fluffy. So I'm just applying a little bit on the brush. And with bronzer, I like using the number 3 formation. So I'm going in a 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to use it underneath where we applied our blush before. Using just a very light hand, we're blending that in as we go. And again, it's totally personal preference how deep you want to go, how light you want to go. So we're applying that into the hollows of our cheek, and we're going from the cheek to the ear. And we're blending as we're going, and then we're going to follow our temple and our hairline to the forehead. So we've created that half of the 3 shape there. And you want to make sure you really blend into the hairline so it looks natural. And then we're going to complete the 3 formation by going to our ear again and down our jawline. So this creates some depth into the face now. You have our shadows back again, but also a nice color to the face as well. So as you can see, 1, 2, and 3. Then over here, we don't have any left, any bronzer. So same thing on this side. We're applying from our ear to our cheek. And then from our ear to the forehead, across our hairline, and then from our ear to our jaw. And again, because we use a nice fluffy brush, we don't have to worry about blending it out too much. Alrighty, we have our complexion all done right there. So now we can bring some attention to our eyes. So with our eyes, I like using the Burt's Bees Rose Garden eyeshadow trio palette here. It's a beautiful natural shade, not to mention that Burt's Bees itself is a bit more natural as well. So we have this trio here. I'm going to use the lighter shade all over my eyelid first. I'm going to use the number 22 flat eyeshadow brush from Quo. We're just going to pack that on. This will help create a nice, beautiful glow to the eyes. And we're just going to apply that just on the lid, but not going above the crease. So we're putting that all on our lid here. A great way to find out where the crease is if you push the brush into the socket. That's usually where your crease is. So you don't want to go above that. And we want to make sure to get our inner corner as well to add a bit of glow there too. Same thing. Just packing that on and then applying it all over the lid. If you do have more oily eyelids, you can definitely use a primer here. And one that is tried and true is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Potion Primer. Alrighty, and that just gave us a bit of glow to the eyes. What we can do now is add some dimension to the eyes as well, similar to how we did with bronzer. I'm going to be using the brown shade here, and I'm going to be using the Detail Angle liner brush here from Quo as well. So I'm just going to pack that on to my brush. And what we're going to do is we're going to add that into our lash line. So instead of adding an eyeliner, which can tend to be a little harsh, so we're just gonna apply that to our lash line. Whether you choose to do a darker shade or a lighter shade is totally up to you. You can use black if you'd like, if you want a more dramatic look. But this shade is just adding some dimension to the eye. You can wing it out if you'd like. You can just trace your your top lash line if you like. It's totally up to you. You can even use a fun color if you'd like, if you're having a more fun day. We're just tracing our lash line. And we're blending it out. And then this is another personal preference if you'd like to add a bit more dimension. I'm going to be tracing the bottom lash line as well, but not all the way in, just more on the outer parts. And just like that. Super easy. And the great thing about this is you don't have to be very precise because it's eyeshadow. So just, especially if you have a more busy lifestyle, it's just really easy to put on and go on, be about your day. So just to complete the eyes now, I'm going to be using the Benefit They're Real mascara. This is a great mascara formulation. I don't have any issues of it clumping, flaking throughout the day, so you can see that I'm wearing more obvious makeup. It's very, very beautiful. I'm going to be using the black shade. They also do have a brown shade if you have lighter hair and you want a more natural effect to it. That's a great option for you to use as well. So I always like to do my bottom lashes as first to begin. So I'm gonna keep my chin down and look up. And I'm just lightly stroking the hairs. If you wiggle, you can tend to get some clumping that way. So if you're just stroking the hair lightly, you can avoid those clumps. I'm going to go very light-handed with the bottom mascara because we don't want it to be clumpy. You can avoid bottom mascara altogether if you want the ultimate natural look, especially if you have longer, thicker lashes. And there you go. Those are the bottom lashes, really nice. And then I'm going to do the top lashes now. So what I like to do for my top lashes is tilt my forehead back and look down. And same thing, we're just gonna lightly stroke the mascara wand through our lashes and not wiggling so we can avoid any clumping altogether. If you like, you can do 2 coats, but I find one is enough to accentuate my lashes without being too dramatic. So same thing, we're gonna tilt our head back and look down. So then that way we don't get any mascara on our eyelids or underneath our brows that way. Another great thing about this wand is that it has spikes at the very tip of it as well. So you can really get into the inner and outer corner lashes. And there you have the eyes. And this is a personal preference. I never feel like my face is complete without my brows being done, because I find that the brows really frame my face and bring it all together. So today I'm going to be using the Benefit Goof Proof Pencil. I'm going to be using the shade number 4. The shade ranges go from 1 being the lightest and 6 being the darkest. If I were to match my natural lashes, or sorry, brows, or my hair, I would usually go for a number 5, but I find number 5 to be a little bit too dark if I'm going for a very natural look, because we just want to lightly shade in our brows, so that's why I'm going to be using the shade number 4. So it's a great pencil, and I always like applying it to my arches first, because that's where I like it the deepest. I'm going to be following the natural shape, but the great thing about this product is you can create the shape in any way that you'd like. So I'm just filling in the arch here. And then as I get to the front of my brows, I'm going to be using a very, very light hand, because naturally our brows tend to be lighter near the front, so you're creating a nice gradient look that way. The great thing about this brush is, the pencil, is that it's a little bit thicker, so you're covering more area quickly rather than a thinner tipped pencil. So again, if you have a busier lifestyle, this is super quick and easy to use. Again, as you get to the front, you're using a lighter hand. If you ever did feel like you went a little too harsh or too bold in some areas, that's a great part of the spoolie. You can just brush that out, and this way you're blending that product into your brows and your hair. And the nice waxy formulation of this product sticks to your brows rather than your skin, so it's more natural looking that way. Again, I prefer a more gradient natural look at the beginning, so I'm just brushing out the beginnings more. Alrighty, and there you have your brows. Again, I feel like my whole face is complete when I have my brows done. And just to finish off everything that we have going on, we're going to finish off with a beautiful gloss by NYX. This is their Butter Gloss. I'm going to be using the shade Bits of Honey. For me, this is a perfect natural shade for my lashes, my lips. They do have a wide range of shades that you can choose from the NYX Butter Glosses. So if you want a pop of color, they have a pop of color. If you have deeper lips or lighter lips that you want to match more closely, they have a beautiful shade range that you can choose from. I really love this gloss because it's nice and buttery and creamy, but it's not sticky or tacky that some glosses can be. And it has just enough pigment to help cover any discoloration that my lips might have, but it's not super pigmented where it's very obvious if my lipstick has come off or anything like that. So very great. It also smells like butter, which is super delicious, but don't eat it. So it just adds a beautiful tint to the lips. If you do find like you have a bit of texture to the lips or some dry lips, flaky lips, I always recommend a lip scrub. So you can use the Lise Wate Magnifix sugar lip scrub. It comes in a stick formation, so it's super easy to use, especially as the winter months are coming along. We may all experience that. So that's a great product to use to prep your lips beforehand. Alrighty. And there you have the very natural, very simple, super easy look. I hope that was easy for you guys all to follow along. And I had a lot of fun creating this for you guys. I hope this all empowered you to feel more comfortable in your skin, to help embrace the natural beauty that we already have and just enhance it with the tips and tricks that you guys all learned today. We are going to go to the chat to see if we have any questions. So let's jump right into that now. I'm really excited. Thank you guys for sending those questions in. Alrighty, so we have a question from Casey Livingston. She says, hi, do you suggest using a sunscreen before applying the Hydra Gel Cream? Would any SPF 30 sunscreen do? So I suggest using sunscreen as late as possible as you can. It should be the very last step in your skincare routine. So I always suggest using it after your moisturizer. Again, like I mentioned in the chat, in the session, always using a lightweight texture would be great because that way you're avoiding any heaviness, especially if you're putting makeup on top. So I always recommend a fluid to go with that. Alrighty. And then we have another question from Mila Jensen. I love the natural look cream blushes provide, but they never last all day on me, even with primer. Do you have any tips for making your cream blush last all day? Yeah, so if you do tend to have a bit more trouble with cream blushes lasting on you, you can always apply a powder. So like how we used the CoverGirl pressed powder, you can apply that on your cheeks as well. So that way when you apply the cream product on top, the cream has something kind of to stick to. So that's what the powder will help with as well as if you want to apply a powder blush on top of the cream blush to make it just last a little bit longer, you can definitely do that as well. Alrighty, so we have another question from Lauren88. What's a good powder to use for super dry skin? I'm always worried about looking flaky. If you have dry skin, which I definitely do during the winter, a great, beautiful product is the Nude by Nature loose mineral powders. They're great. I don't find I get as tight in my skin when I use that, and it has beautiful ingredients in it as well. So really great to use that. You can build up the coverage if you like, or you can keep it as light as you like. So beautiful product. Alrighty, so we have another another question from Ali CIA 416. She says, what are your thoughts on using primer before makeup application? I love primer. I definitely recommend it, especially if you have long days ahead of you. Because we use very lightweight products, I find that personally for me, they don't tend to move around a lot on me. But I definitely love the new Urban Decay All-Nighter Primer. It's beautiful. If you tend to have more oily combination skin, the new Smashbox Oil and Shine Control is beautiful as well. So if you want that longevity, I definitely recommend primer. All right, and we have another question from Beauty Lover. She says, I have rosacea. Can you recommend a color concealer that works best to cancel out redness? I think you mentioned the color wheel before. Yeah, so if you have any redness, the opposite of red on the color wheel is green. So you can use a green color corrector. You can use the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer Fluid, and they do have a green shade as well. Super lightweight product that you can apply to spot areas. But if you have rosacea, like on your cheeks, they're a great green primers as well. So Smashbox has a great redness primer, so it has a hint of green to it to help cancel out the redness. Alrighty, and Rebecca Davies, she says, I noticed you use a lot of cream products. What are some of your favorite cream bronzers? Great question. There actually is a new one from, same thing, Physicians Formula, actually. They came out with a stick bronzer that you can apply as well. So just super easy to go on, super buttery. You just apply it. You can blend it out with your fingers again, or you can use a brush. So that's another beautiful cream bronzer that you can use too. Alrighty, our next question is from Chelsea Knows. She says, do you recommend a lip balm type of product that gives a hint of color? Yeah, there's actually a beautiful tinted lip balms from Elizabeth Arden, and they have great ingredients in their lip balms as well. They have a beautiful shade range to select to from as well if you like a heavier lip balm with a bit of a hint to it. Alrighty, and our last question is from Gabby Beauty. She says, if your brows are super light and your hair is dark, should you choose a lighter or darker shade? I always recommend something middle ground. So if your brows are super light, I think you can get away with using a darker or a lighter. It's definitely a personal preference, but I think you can use a medium tint so that way you're matching your hair more, but you're not providing so much of a contrast to your natural brow hairs that it looks a little off or unnatural. So that's beautiful. Alrighty, those are great questions. I love them. I hope that helped answer some questions that maybe you guys had at home as well. So thank you to everyone who sent them in. They were amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining us again. I had an incredible time with you guys. I hope you did too as well today. And I look forward to seeing you guys hopefully in person one day when hopefully all of this is over. And again, thank you to joining us, connecting with us, learning something new today. I hope you guys all went home, or you're home, but you all learned something today. Be sure to keep your eye out for future master classes. We do have many more coming up, and you can learn amazing things from the other beautiful pro artists. There is a link to sign up in the chat for you to join their other classes, and also keep an eye out for your email because you should be receiving an offer for you guys to get some beautiful goodies that you can indulge in when you go home as well. And thanks again for joining us. I hope you get to see you guys all next time. Bye.